Hey, Gamertag Radio listeners, guess what? We have a special episode. This is going to be a two-part episode all about Starfield. We're going to be reviewing the game here with the whole crew. Part 1 is going to be with Parris. Part 2 is with Pete. This is in total over 2 hours long. I think like around 2:15, 2:30, around there. So I just want you guys to enjoy this episode. Let me know your thoughts. And at the end of each episode, we answer questions submitted from the listeners, from the fans. So enjoy this episode and let me know your thoughts on Discord or fan mail at gamertagradio.com. Check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Ladies and gentlemen, podcasting since 2005. You're listening to Gamertag Radio. With your hosts, podcaster Hall of Famer Danny Peña, the always opinionated Parris Lilly, and from outside of the norm, Peter Toledo. This is Gamertag Radio.
All right, welcome to Gamertag Radio, episode 1299. This is your host, Danny Peña, and this is a special episode, by the way. Special episode might be the longest episode in the history of Gamertag Radio, and we'll find out why in a few minutes. We have here Parris Lilly. Parris, what's up, man?
Too bad we couldn't have made it to 1300.
I know, right?
This would have been a perfect episode. This would have been a perfect episode.
That would have been dope. That would have been dope. But it's all good. So this episode, we're going to be reviewing Starfield. First of all, I want to say thanks to Xbox and Bethesda for sending us a review code early. It was a great opportunity because we've been talking about this game now for years. I think since 2018. Mm-hmm. And we also had arguments, debates about the game and everything. So we can talk about everything. So this is how we're going to do it. The first half is going to be me and Parris. Second half, I have a conversation also with Pete. He has less hours than us, but he wants to be part of this review and everything. And also, we're also going to have a special fan mail questions at the end. The fans, the listeners, been sending us questions about Starfield, and we're going to try our best to answer the questions. But during the review, there's not going to be no spoilers, strictly zero spoilers. I want you guys to just enjoy this game, not knowing anything about the story. So, are you ready, Parris? Ready to do this?
I'm ready.
All right. So, first thing first, head over to gamertagradio.com, post your comments and feedback. You could also find us on any podcast app. Just search for Gamertag Radio. Whenever you get the chance, send us also questions. Send us feedback about this review. And this is how you can contact us.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.
All right, Pat, so I think it's a great time for us to start this review, man. And how are we going to start this? Because this game is so big. It's so massive. And I know we have totally different experiences with the game. So how are we going to start this? How are we going to do this, Parris?
Man, I mean, it's interesting. I'll say this. So I've completed the main story from start to finish. And when I rolled credits, I was at 72 hours of playtime with the game. And overall, I really enjoyed it. I did. I think Starfield is a very solid game. I think it is irresponsibly large, the amount of things that you'll be able to do in this and things that you can explore. And I've played longer because there's the whole New Game Plus, but we don't want to spoil anything. But even in that, I've done a fraction of the game. Literally. I mean, the main story is just there to kind of guide you versus here's all the things that you'll be able to do, the various factions that you can join, just the random NPCs that you'll meet, and that'll kick off, it's a mission that might wind up taking you 2 hours to do, right? The planet exploration itself, like there's no way I've seen just a tiny bit of these planets that are out there. And honestly, that's probably my favorite part of the game is just landing on a planet and exploring and finding just random stuff. Like, remember I told you the one story? I just came across one unknown area, and it was an abandoned like communication station, and all the robots, the Vasco robots, right? A bunch of those had took it over, and they were like, no organics allowed. And I went in anyways, and they immediately tagged me and chased me around the planet. I just thought it was hilarious. Just stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Had nothing to do with the main game. Wasn't a curated side story. This was just a random encounter that I could have completely missed. I loved a lot of the various inspirations that I saw in the game, like 2001: A Space Odyssey. Like I told you, there's a Mass Effect Shadow Broker reference in there. WALL-E, you think about things like obviously Star Wars. Like I don't have my list in front of me, but like I wrote down all these various references. I mean, you think of like The Last Starfighter, because I was teasing little stuff on Twitter along the way, but like The Last Starfighter is another one that's referenced. There's all these various sci-fi movies and nostalgia. Ice Pirates, which was a comedy, is a reference that you would take into Starfield. There's a lot to enjoy about this game. There really is. Like I said, some of the various side missions that you'll do, the stories, the decisions that you'll have to make, the characters that you'll meet along the way. I mean, these are classic Bethesda things that you do. Absolutely classic. I mean, going all the way back to Morrowind type of scenarios that you could expect in this. Ironically enough, I know leading up to the game, a lot of people were calling this Skyrim in space. This is actually more Oblivion in space, more than anything. It just has that feel to it, a very Oblivion feel to it when you get to the actual story stuff and you're interacting with the various characters and everything. But again, the thing that separates Starfield from the rest is going to all these different planets, and you're surveying them, and you're gathering resources from them. You're creating outposts on them. Like I said, you're finding these random encounters on them. I mean, like you just go to like I said, I've seen planets that were all the way up to like level 75, and you just go in there and there's just chaos going on, right? Or you go to one that people say are barren, but you still find interesting things to go do on there, as far as just discovering various resources and unknown locations and things like that. It's a lot. There is a lot to consume in this game. And honestly, 2 weeks was simply not enough to play it. The way that I played this game over this 2 week period is not the way I would suggest anyone to play this game. Play it. The main story is just kind of there when you want to experience it, but play it slow. Go to these planets, discover them, create your outposts. We didn't even talk about the shipbuilding and the piracy and stealing ships and doing all that stuff. I mean, there's different paths that you'll be able to go down when you're playing Starfield that, in my personal opinion, you slow play it. Don't rush into, oh my God, I got to finish the story. No. Story, you get to that when you get to it. The sweet sauce of Starfield is the discovery aspect of it, is the unknown aspect of it, going out there and just the things that you're going to encounter along the way. Like, this is a game that we'll be playing a year from now. We'll probably be playing 2 years from now, because there's so much to do, and there's things, like I said, there's just things that we've not even seen yet. Not to mention when the mod community gets their hands on it, things like that. But with all that said, I'm not judging Starfield. This review is not about what Starfield will be a year from now. It's about what Starfield is today. And it does have some problems, 100%. That's why I was like, let me talk about all the good, because there are some things about Starfield that I'm not a fan of. The inventory system is atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. For a game that is encouraging you to go out and discover and survey these planets and gather these resources and getting out to all the crafting that you have to do, the things that the resource, everything that you need to build ships and outposts, all this stuff that they encourage you to do, the inventory system is an absolute nightmare. It is a nightmare. I personally feel, and some hardcore RPG people may disagree, but I personally feel that the what's the word I'm looking for? But basically the amount of supplies that you can carry is very limiting. This was one of the first things I maxed out in the skill tree was called weightlifting, to where I could hold more. And even that wasn't enough. You can upgrade your ship to hold more. That wasn't enough. All your companions you can use as mules to hold various stuff. That's not enough. And then it's like herding cats when you need all these resources to craft something or to go to an outpost and build it, because you got stuff, weapons and resources and things all over the place. And I'm like, wait, who has what and where? And you're trying to herd cats and gather it all together so you can actually use this stuff. Was not a fan of that at all. That is something I hope they get a lot of feedback on, Bethesda, and they modify it. And they're a little more forgiving on that. Not to mention, I want to say I did play on normal mode. I didn't play on hard or the extra hard mode or easy. I just played on normal. So I don't know if it's even less forgiving on hard mode or more forgiving on easy. I don't know. But
it's the same. It's the same.
Okay. But on normal mode, not acceptable at all. That is my number one strike against this game right now. It discourages you from wanting to gather resources and weapons. I found myself constantly in my inventory getting rid of stuff because I might get something new, or I'd get conflicted. Like let's say I would get a modified Grendel weapon, one of the rifles, right? I get a modified one with some cool perks on it. But I like the one I already got, but I'm like, man, I want to keep this one. But now I'm encumbered and I can't carry everything. And I'm like, what do I do? Okay, let me go dump something, like stuff like that. Like I ran into a thing like with ship parts. Like, I'm getting into space battles. And if you destroy a ship, you can loot the ship that you just destroyed for parts and stuff, right? And you'll use that in other battles to repair your ship. My cargo space is full. I can't do nothing. Right. I told you one trick. I told you one trick offline that I found, but actually this isn't a trick. I was like, you know what? I took all the resources I had on my ship in the cargo and I just dumped them all on the ground. I just dumped everything I had inside the ship. But that's temporary. It won't stay forever. They'll eventually all disappear and go away. So you can't do that.
Yeah, even if you change your ship, it will disappear too.
Yeah,
because I tried to do that and it didn't work out. But can I also mention too, like the good, because I'll mention the bad later. But I think the good for me, Parris, and you're right, man. Like 2 weeks wasn't enough for me to discover more stuff in the game. Now here's the first thing that I did though. Like, yes, there's tons of side quests and the main quests and everything, but I was just experimenting. Like, the first few minutes of the game, you do like tutorials and all that stuff. But then once I started flying out, I was like, yo, I'm just going to go to a random planet that has nothing to do with quests just to see that I could go there and explore. And I did that multiple times. Even now that I'm in the New Game Plus, I'm discovering, different planets still and just stuff that I couldn't do in the beginning, So I think this game is phenomenal. Like I really, really love this game. I have already 60 plus hours by the time I completed the story, the main campaign. But here's the thing too, man. Like there was a bug that for some strange reason I did an outpost.
Yeah.
And one of the missions I had to like added something in the ship. I'm not gonna say what it is exactly, but I couldn't complete the mission because I added that somewhere in a different planet at an outpost, and I couldn't remember where was the location. Like you said, Parris, like, yes, you talk about the inventory, but for me, just minor features that it would have been easy for me to find certain things, certain planets that I visited and all that stuff. Like I had to go one by one, every planet, every galaxy, just to see where was the place that I build my outpost because it wasn't showing in the menu. I don't know if it's going to be like that for everybody else, but that was like a major bug for me, and it was driving me insane. So what I was doing, I was just working on just my my side quests, and I did a lot. I did a lot of factions, and I think that's one of the highlights of the game is the faction and just like the side quests. Bro, there's one faction that you guys are gonna love. I'm not gonna say what it is, but the story is just like so good, so good. Voice acting top notch. The music is great. And I just love just discovering all kinds of stuff. Like I even went to a random cave that I found, right, Paris? And there was also books in there that I collected. You could start reading those books and it tells you like different stories. Like even my wife, Rihanna, so she started playing. She's been playing on the Xbox Series S. And she was in the beginning of the game, the planet that you start, right? And she was there just focusing on side quests and they even bother with the story. She was doing that almost all day. Just that alone, just the intro of the game. So if you guys are going to start playing this, don't rush this. I think this is a game that you got to take your time and just go out there, experiment. I know previously Paris said there's galaxies and planets that when you go over there, you have to be like in level 70. Paris, we haven't even gotten there yet.
Yeah.
We haven't even tested the waters when it comes to that stuff.
That's what I'm saying. Imagine, it's like,
Yeah. So imagine us. Now we're in that level. I'm like, you know what? I think it's time to go over here. It's time to go over here. And also upgrade your character, upgrade your ship. Very, very important to upgrade your ship. If you want to go to like really far galaxies and planets and all that stuff, make sure that your ship or new ships that you get in the future. Because I had in total 8 ships. I don't know how many do you have? Paris,
I wind up having 4 that I kept. Yeah.
So I was saving money because I was doing a lot of the quests. And by the time I decided that I was going to buy multiple ships because I wanted better weapon, better engine for you and everything, it helped me to destroy enemies right away because I upgraded that ship to the max almost. And I'm still missing stuff in there, man. You know, so everybody's going to have different experiences. Paris is going to have, you know, he has his own, like we kind of like compare. And it's very, very different from mine and Paris, man. Like I discovered stuff that he didn't. He discovered stuff that I'm like, really? I had no idea, you know what I'm saying? So that's the beauty about this game, that everybody's gonna have a different experience playing this, man. You know? Yeah,
for sure, absolutely. But a couple things I do want to circle back to. So I played this across PC, Xbox Series X, and Series S. I would say probably about 60% of my playtime was on PC, and probably the other 30% was on the Series X, and then the last 10% was on the S. But I mean, it was fine from a performance standpoint. No issues across all 3 platforms. The S was just fine because I know a lot of people have had concerns about the Series S. The S is just fine, completely playable, very enjoyable experience on the S. Series X, obviously, you know, performed just fine. My PC, the rig I had no problem playing this at above 60 frames per second. So I was good to go from a performance standpoint. But I will say it is also interesting to me, the visuals in this game. It is such a polarizing is not even the right word, but it's a mixed bag of what, like, dude, I would be on some planets and be looking around. I'd be like, God damn, like it's just that good, right? Like just beautiful. Even some of the NPCs, like you could tell the main character NPCs, like the truly curated NPCs of certain factions and side missions, they definitely went into detail on those and they look fantastic. Some of the random NPCs and some of the other characters and some of the other visuals I've seen in certain places just don't hold up that well. It was a stark contrast in that way. It was kind of weird in a way. But I also want to give Bethesda kudos because another one of the things about this game, and this is kind of a staple with Bethesda games anyways, is just their attention to detail. It's so funny with the creation engine. The creation engine does some things just so freaking well and other ones it struggles with, but the attention of detail that in these levels, on the ships, in these locations that you see, just the teeny tiniest little detail is just there, and it makes sense, and it's gorgeous. But then you see some other ones, you're kind of, you know. I will say, for the most part, the cities are okay, but I did expect more out of the cities. They didn't feel as alive as I was hoping they would, right? It felt, the cities to me felt like cities that you would have run into back in the 2000s. To be perfectly frank, like from a 360 era, from a PS3 360 era. But once you're actually engaged into whatever the story plot was happening, that was fine. I will say that the writing at times is phenomenal, but at other times it was kind of just okay. Right?
Oh, like in the main quest, or you talk about like just
overall. Honestly, the main quest, and this is why I tell people, the main quest is not necessarily the reason that you're coming to play this game, is a little lackluster in that way. I was expecting more. Like, there's a couple reveals that'll happen in there. You'll be like, oh, damn. But what I found is I didn't connect with the Constellation characters as much as I thought I would. Like, honestly, Barrett was annoying. I didn't want to talk to Barrett. Anytime he was in my part, like, okay, you can go sit down. I don't want to talk to you.
You know what was annoying for me? Sam was annoying, and his child.
Actually, I enjoyed Sam.
Really?
Sam
I didn't like Sam.
I enjoyed Sam, and I enjoyed Andrea. Andrea, I might be saying it wrong, but
I know this another one, Sarah, that I got along with.
Sarah was okay. She didn't annoy me, but Andrea, I think I'm saying it right. Might be saying it slightly wrong, but Andrea and Sam were actually my highlights from Constellation of characters that I connected with. Other characters, I don't necessarily spoil anything, but there were some faction characters that I was really digging as well, that you may or may not encounter depending on how you play the game. But it's interesting. Like, I think to get let's talk about the skill tree really quick before.
I was going to mention
I really like how the skill tree is laid out. I love how as you level up, you'll get a skill point, and the initial skill point, you'll go through the various options that you have in your skill tree, and you get to unlock it, but then you have to do the challenge that's inside of that skill to then unlock that level. And there's like four ranks inside that skill. I actually like that because it's having you do something specific in the game to basically earn that perk that you're going to get through the skill tree. Because it's what do you have? This combat, you have science. I don't have it in front of me.
Social, science, yes. Ship. There's a ship one. The ship, I didn't upgrade every. Because I know there's multiple levels per perk. So what I did was unlocked everything, and then I'm going to start now in my next session. I'm going to start leveling up every perk.
Interesting. All the way to I did it completely different because, like I told you, the weightlifting one was one that I specifically I'm mastering this one right away. I didn't want to wait because the inventory system. I wanted to make sure I had the max carrying capacity that I possibly could. That one and health were two that I pretty much did almost immediately.
Ooh, health, man. Yeah. I mean, there was some moments for me, Paris. Like, I mean, here's a good thing, and I know I've done this with previous games too, especially Bethesda games. Is if I'm stuck in an area, or if I made a decision like, oh man, this is not good, I'll go back to like my past save files and just go back. And like there was one I was like in level 40 something, and I messed up. I can't remember exactly what it was. I messed up, and I went back to like level 36 because I'm like, oh man. It was something that I made a mistake, and I was like, I'm not gonna, stick with this, man. So, but like you said though, I never really. I think I did a couple per perk. I leveled up, but the majority I was just like, let me unlock this, let me unlock that. Like I unlocked everything from this the ship skills section, completely filled it. So right now I'm working on the physical and also science. So, but I also want to mention this too, Paris. I know you mentioned about all the platforms. I did the same exact thing. I think the majority has been PC, second Series S, and for me, at the end, Series X, like as testing. So, and it looks great. I think the consoles looks great. Zero issues. I think in the Series S, a couple of times froze very quick, and then I had to like restart it, but that only happened like maybe twice out of the whole session that I played throughout the whole 2 weeks that we had. But overall, it's been smooth, great. I also want to mention this, and I'm very curious. I'm curious if you can answer this question. So, at the beginning when we saw the presentation, I think the Xbox Showcase. They showed a presentation of the game, and while you walk towards your ship, you see a robot, which is Vasco, and the robot will mention your name, right? So I was always curious, can this robot say Peña? I always was very curious, so I put Danny Peña. The character never got to that part. He always would say Danny. I don't know with you if he mentioned your full name or just Paris or what, but also what I noticed in the game, there's a lot of Latino characters in there with like their Spanish last names and everything, which I was very surprised. I was like, wow, okay. And they actually, you could tell that they actually use a lot of the Latino voice actors to be that character and stuff like that. So I was pretty amazed about that. Cause usually you won't see that, and especially in a game like this, a sci-fi game. Because they'll have like some just random names, but not Latin names, So just want to mention that very quick, because I felt like that was important to me. And another thing too is I think that I connected more with Barrett than Sam. And one of the things that was really annoying is when I was traveling to like a different planet and I was about to land or something, I'll hear Sam and his child talking behind me the whole time. I'm like, I just want to fly. Like, they're like either arguing or he's telling her, make sure to go to bed tonight, or like something like that. And I'm like in the middle of me about to land or flying somewhere else, like, I don't know. But I couldn't connect with Sam at all. At all. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, going back to what you were saying with Vasco and saying your name. So my character's, excuse me, my character's name was Roscoe Soul Train, and he's a bounty hunter, and his religious faith was with the serpent.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he never said my name. And I was just like, well, Roscoe Soul Train, he probably ain't gonna know that. So I just assumed that's what the reason was. But it'll be interesting to hear from other people what their character's name was, and if Vasco was going to be able to say it or not. But going to the character creator specifically,
let's talk about that.
I love it. I love it. It's fantastic. I literally made myself. I'll post a picture, obviously, here when the embargo is up and we can show stuff. But I am in the game. I made myself in the game. Oh, yeah, and because people, bro, I've had so many people DMing me on the side. It was like, did Bethesda put you in the game because everyone thinks Vladimir looks like me? I was like, no. I go, hey, if they model it after me, they better pay me because it wasn't me. But yeah, the character creator, I love, like, you could, like, I legitimately think what we saw, the leak about the person created Todd Howard, I think that's real, because I think you could do it. If you have the time, the patience and the talent, that character creator is extensive enough. I think you could absolutely do that. And you could recreate anybody you want in that game. It's that extensive. So, kudos to that. I probably spent a good hour in that at the start when I first started the game, just messing around with the character.
Now, I'm very curious. What was your background? Because I'll tell you mine, but what's yours?
I was bounty hunter. I'm a bounty hunter.
Okay. Yeah. So for me, I was beast hunter on that character, for my character. And it looks exactly like me too. Now, my question to you, because people might be confused about this. So I didn't use traits. I was like, you know what? I looked at it. It didn't make sense for me to use it. So traits to me was more of like, if you want to make the game even more challenging, like, for example, you become a homeowner and you have to pay your mortgage every week or something, or every month or something like that. Or you might get along with your parents, and you also have to send them money a few times, right? There was different ones that I was like, I just couldn't relate to this, and I didn't want to start my game with these challenges to make it more complicated for my character. So I just kept it as Beast Hunter, and I just went in. Now for you, Paris, did you added that to your game or no?
I did. That's what I was saying. I was in the Serpent Religion.
Serpent Religion. So what's the Serpent Religion?
I'm forgetting it's the serpent one. The serpent one. I'm forgetting.
No, but I know what is it. What is it you have to do in that one?
Well, I know it. It gave me more allegiance to the Freestar Collective I know that because I joined them, and I remember I had the boost pack. I got that perk like right off jump because I picked that trait as well.
And I know there was one thing that you mentioned to me, because you have those traits, it also unlock other quests that is not available for me.
Yeah,
which is wild.
And dialogue choices as well.
And dialogue choices. Okay.
Because I would get people that were loyal to I keep wanting to say Serpent Society. I might be wrong on that. I do apologize. But the Serpent Religion that were loyal to that, and I would have dialogue options that I could use in the game, talking to certain NPCs about that. It would help me with, if they were loyal to that, it would help me persuade them as well. That was another thing. Another one that I upgraded pretty quickly was my persuade. I actually got through some scenarios where I never had to shoot anybody or do anything. I literally talked them into doing one. There's, again, I don't want to spoil it, but there's one side mission with Sam that there was a situation and it could have got bloody really quick, but I talked my way through it, and I never had to pull my gun. No one died.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. And I'll tell you this also, there's going to be situations where you might get arrested. You have to pay some fines. I
got arrested a lot.
But sometimes it was because of my mistake, or they caught me stealing, like, those type of things, those type of situations. So what was it for you? Was it because you stole something? Or?
I had one with stealing where I thought I was okay, where I stole something and I didn't realize, like, I didn't get caught. No one knew. I just stole it, right? Nobody knew. I go back to New Atlantis, and woo, they own me. I'm like, yeah, because I stole something. So then I had to pay a fine or whatever. But then, like I was telling you, I had a scenario where I was on a mission, and it was like an assassination mission. And the target, I was trying to kill the target, and I accidentally shot one of the NPCs. And man, talk about the entire galaxy was after me. Like, I don't care where I went, because remember, I was like, help, I don't know what to do. Everybody was on me. I had to warrant, the bounty out for me and all that. And then I wound up having to clear the bounty to get out of it. But yeah, that was a trip, because that was just complete accident. And then I had one where my ship, I was smuggling, and I'd got the cargo plating thing that's supposed to shield you from it, right? But that is not 100%. So I got scanned on one planet, and they knew I had the cargo, and boom, they was on me, and I had to, and I went to jail for that. But just stuff like that. Now, one thing I do want to point out before I forget. Again, this is the most polished Bethesda game I've probably ever played, but that does not mean it's the perfect game when it comes to bugs and stuff. I have 100% run into some weird, not game breaking bugs, but some weird, odd bugs. I played 90% of my time before that day one patch came out. So I haven't seen anything that really stood out since the day one patch. So your mileage may vary on that. But obviously, again, I got to point out what I played versus any assumptions on what a day one patch is going to do. But yeah, there was definitely some weird stuff. Like, one thing that, and I'm sure they'll be able to fix this moving forward, is talking to NPCs, and like they'll be staring at the wall and not looking at you, right? Or looking to the side and not looking at you. Or there'll be some NPC in the background doing weird stuff that doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Another thing I noticed with taking companions with me on certain missions, sometimes I had to be like, y'all got to go home, because they were they're dumb. They were just getting in the way. And they were, I'm trying to sneak, and they setting off alarms and all this stuff. So like little things like that was kind of an annoyance. Now, another thing, again, before we forget, is the combat itself. Now, it's acceptable, but it's not the greatest. It ain't like you finna play Destiny or something, right? It ain't that kind of gunplay for sure. It's okay. It gets the job done. I definitely found some weapons that were my favorites as I went along. Again, some of them I don't want to list because it'll be spoilers, because some of these things you'll get through various missions as gifts. But the guns felt good, but they could have been better. right? I still think there's some tuning there they can do with some of the weapon play for sure. I do love, depending on the planet that you're on and the location, the different gravity changes how you'll play as far as getting into combat, using the boost pack, things like that, because of the gravity. Either you got like complete 0G, low gravity, or gravity that's heavier than normal, stuff like that, depending on where you are. I found that interesting as well. And this is where I just say, for me, overall, you will go buy an Xbox to play Starfield. Even the way it is right now today, you'll go buy an Xbox to play Starfield. But this is not the generational leap of RPGs I was hoping it would be. This feels more like, this is why I brought up the Oblivion analogy. This feels like more Oblivion than anything, but it's at a huge scale, an unprecedented scale, because of all the various planets that you can visit. And let's address something right now, because this has obviously been, I've been so not saying anything, looking at social media and seeing people that don't know what they're talking about comment on this game. The zones on the planets are fine. I never ran into something like, unless I'm purposely trying to just edge up to the end of a zone, it never felt like a problem to me. And the way that would work, yes, you can go land all around the planet wherever you want. You can go pick a zone to land. This is where the procedural generation comes in. It's going to procedurally generate something, points of interest, wherever you go on the planet. But no, you're not going to be able to walk across the entire planet. It's going to stop you at a certain point, tell you to fast travel back to your ship, and then you go to another zone. Is it ideal? No. But it never took me out of the game. You know what I'm saying? Like it was fine. Now, one thing I do think is a slight bummer is, even with the planets, that even when you're in a solar system, you can't just, I want to go to Mars and I just real time fly to Mars. You have to basically fast travel to it. You do like a load screen and you're fast traveling to that planet, even if you're inside that solar system. So space exploration in that way, it's more of various zones that you're hitting. So I know some people will ding it for that. It didn't bother me that much, but it is a thing for sure. I do wish it was true open space exploration, but it's not. The loading, there is a lot of loading in this game. And for a game in 2023, that is a little disappointing that there's so much loading in it. I mean, there's a lot of go to the elevator, you go to a door, boom, you hit a load screen, stuff like that. That happens a lot in the game. So it isn't a lot of real time. Like, you don't real time exit your ship. You get to a hatch, boom, hit a button, load screen, and you're out. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Stuff like that. There is a canned animation when you sit down in the cockpit or get out of it that you can't get out of as that's happening. So, that's, again, your mileage may vary on that. And while I'm talking, because I don't want to forget this at all, we lightly touched on space battle. Yes, you absolutely need to go upgrade your ship and the skill perks, the skill tree perks that come with that, to be able to take on some of the more higher level space battles. Because I was getting my ass kicked early on. I'm like, this is not fun. But once you start upgrading it, it definitely gets better. Again, there's one end game mission. There's a mission towards the end with space battle that if you don't upgrade your ship, you're going to have a hard time with it for sure. But overall, the space battle stuff felt okay. I mean, it felt pretty good. I mean, I really enjoyed it. When I would engage in space battles and the targeting and, you're shooting your missiles and stuff like that. Like I said, and it's like, I just think the overall tone that I have for Starfield is, this is something you'll buy an Xbox for, but don't go into this expecting, like, this is, to me, Starfield is not going to define Xbox this generation. I think it's going to be a great addition to Xbox. I think it's a game people will play for a long time. They will get a lot of enjoyment out of, but I don't think this isn't this generation's Halo for Xbox. Let's put it that way. I don't think it is. I think it's a very good game. I think what Todd Howard and his team at Bethesda have created is ambitious. It is something, like I said, I keep saying, it's something we'll play for a long time. it is something that will evolve over time. And this is where I, again, want to be crystal clear. I'm judging Starfield on what it is today, not the potential of what it will be tomorrow. Because I don't think that's fair to assume anything other than this is what I'm playing. This is what I played for the past 2 weeks. I can't look at it like I look at stuff and I go, they're going to fix this. They're going to fix that. I can see it and I understand it, but that's not the experience that I had. And I think to anybody listening to this, I want to be crystal clear on that because I do want to set expectations for that don't go into this knowing there's going to be some weird quirks. There's going to be some things that you're not going to be a huge fan of. Like, I'm not a fan of the outpost stuff, the way that it's like I set up my outposts and all that, but there's a lot in this game that they don't explain to you. And you kind of like you and I have had a ton of conversations, me and Gary, other people, like trying to figure stuff out that wasn't easily explained to me, or the UI wasn't very helpful. Like, for the longest, I didn't even know where to get ammo from. I'm like, where the hell do I go? I don't know where to get ammo from. Where do I get? But you get my point though. Yeah. They don't have a mini map or anything in these cities that specifically is calling these things out. You kind of got to go discover them on your own. And another thing, before I shut up, is Starfield, in my opinion, doesn't really get going until about hour 4. I think the first 3 hours of that game are very slow. They're throwing a lot of things at you, and it can almost feel a bit overwhelming at first. And you need to be prepared for that too. You're not immediately going to jump in and you're Han Solo and you're a space pirate terrorizing the galaxy. That's not going to happen. There is a slow build up to that. But once that door is opened, they turn that key and that door is open. Boom. Now you're in there. But just be prepared that probably, like I said, the first 3 hours of the game, it's going to be a slow burn for sure.
I know you mentioned that this is not a game that's like a Halo or something like that, right? I'll put it this way, Parris. I think Xbox needed a game like this. It's not like a Halo or Gears at that time, but Xbox needed something different, something new to shine the hardware and shine the services, right? So I think Bethesda did that with Starfield, in my opinion. I think that I really enjoy the game, but the true thing that was going to happen, Parris, is once this game goes out to the masses, the talent, the stuff that other people are going to discover that none of the reviewers discovered, like that is what is going to make the game even more special once we get to see that online, like how we got to see people creating all kinds of crazy stuff with Zelda, right? And it's always posting online, all that stuff. I think that's what's going to happen with Starfield.
But you think. That's not what it is today. And that's why I don't want to even set that expectation for anyone until it actually happens. People should know going in what they're going to get.
Of course, but Parris, I'm talking about like people creating stuff. I'm telling you right now, give it like a couple days, like a day or two, you're going to see some wild stuff from people that create ships or gear. Maybe they discover something by mistake that we totally missed. Like, we're going to see that. That 100% is going to happen.
No, completely agree. And that's why I'm saying the way that we played this game is not the way I would suggest anybody plays this game. Because the story is not an afterthought, don't get me wrong, but the main story is not why you're playing Starfield. It's not for exactly what you're talking about. The shipbuilding, the outpost building, doing various side things. Like that's why the discovery aspect of it. That's why you're going to play Starfield for a long time. And yes, when the mod community gets a hold of the game, of course, they're going to create some very unique and special things. And of course, Bethesda's going to hear feedback early on and they're going to be able to tighten up the game and fix some things. But our review, in my opinion, is for people that will be picking this up on September 1st and September 6th and what they can expect then versus what they might expect 2 months from now, 6 months from now, or a year from now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And okay, so overall, we like the game. I think people are going to be talking about it. I highly recommend people to check it out. It's good. I want to also ask you some questions that people submitted before we wrap it up because we only have like a few minutes. All right, so it's time for fan mail.
fanmail@gamertagradio.com.
And this is pretty good. I think this will be good for Parris also to answer. So this is from Arctic. He wants to know, how much do you see early in the game when it comes to lockpicking? So how important lockpicking is in the game? Are you seeing a lot of saves, lock doors that this skill needs to be adding early on?
Yes, clutch is the lock picking. And let me tell you something. Look, maybe I'm getting dumber in my old age, or maybe I was never smart at all. But that expert and master lock picking, some of them locks. Oh my God.
It's insane, huh?
Oh my God. Like, I'm sitting there. I'm just sitting there staring at the screen, like trying to figure it out. I'm like, okay, now put this one in. And then wait, now if I do that, but if I go to this one, am I going to have to, it gets so complicated and they try and trick you. Like when you get to expert and master, oh my God, they try to trick you with the lock picking. But the beauty of the lock picking is twofold. Obviously, there's some loot that you'll be able to find, weapons, gear, stuff like that. That'll be clutch that you'll find with some of these more advanced locks. But also in some of these later levels, being able to open a door and not have to take the long way around. Oh my God. Such a lifesaver to be able to do that. You'll avoid entire enemy scenarios because of that.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we have another question. We have a lot of questions here, but I'm trying to see which one will be perfect for this one. Let's see. Okay, another one. Without getting into too many details, if there are any or there are certain types of loot collectibles out there to gather. There's tons.
Yeah.
There's tons.
Mm-hmm.
Tons. Like Ree, she was just working on collecting books for some strange reason. I'm like, okay. And something I think would have been cool too, Par, because I know Rihanna found a couple of dolls from different planets. That would have been cool if you could collect those and you put it on your ship, customize it. You can't do that. You only could put it in your cargo. I don't know. I think that would have been cool. All right, so another one. All right, this was a two medic. What was your favorite planet to explore?
That's a spoiler.
That's a spoiler. It's
a spoiler.
I don't give you the name, but I'll tell you that I discovered one because it was a very high level, and the radiation was so bad I almost died. So
I think I ran into something like that too. Yeah.
So I recommend that. Yes, I know Parris mentioned about the gravity and boost and all this stuff, but also work on getting suits that is going to help you with against radiation, because you don't want your character to die. So, and then you get sick. There's another one too where I jumped very, very high because I was trying to get at a certain location so fast that my character broke his leg.
Yeah.
I had to, that happens. So
yeah, that's one thing that we didn't talk about more specifically. Again, the weapons and the armor, the suits, however you want to phrase it, the various perks and things that they'll be able to do. So you do, and it's again where I talk about the inventory, because I would have something like, oh man, this suit would be great on this planet if I have to do this, versus, oh, this suit would be good on this planet if I need to do that. Oh man, this weapon, I love this style gun, but I love the perk on this one versus the other one. I want to keep them all, but I don't have enough room. So you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I ran into that a lot.
All right, another question. This is from Arctic. Did you see yourself needing to go to your ship more often? Would you recommend strength to get more storage early?
But yeah, well, that's what I've been talking about the entire time. It is 100%. It's one of the first things I did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you will go to the ship a lot. So, game difficulties. What type of difficulties we tried out? So for me, I tried normal. I went back to easy, very easy. I also went to hard. I just wanted to see the difference, if there was anything new. The only differences I got to see was your character getting hurt from against the enemies, or you. It will take you a longer time to beat the enemies because they're a lot harder when it comes to health and stuff like that. So, are you able to name your ship or base? I don't remember.
You can name the outpost. You can rename the outpost.
The outpost, but not your ship.
Yeah, I don't think you can rename the ship. I don't seem to remember you could do that.
Can you sell your ship for profit?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I never sold my ship, so I don't know. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't know. I know that I have 8 ships, so I never sold them. I know you could buy and collect. I even stole one from a pirate.
You're right. I don't think you can sell it. Yeah, I don't think you can.
You can sell a bunch of items, but not ships.
Yeah, you can sell the parts and stuff, but I don't think you sell the ship itself.
I think that would be cool. A feature where you could buy ships from created by the fans. I think that would be cool if they could add that in the future. Oh, all right, Parris. So we didn't talk about this. I know there's 3 versions where you could change the camera: first person, third person. I think that's like a third person wide view. The only time that I changed third person was using the ship, but I was using 100% first person throughout the whole game.
Yeah, I would say what I would do is vast majority of the time I'm in first person. When I was on a planet exploring, just surveying and exploring, I would go to third person when I did that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I think we talked about this. Okay, what traits and backgrounds do you go with during your gameplay? We already answered that question.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think most of these questions, we already answered it. So I saved a couple just for Parris, but we already, I think, talked about it on the podcast here. But no, Parris, I think I really enjoy this game. I highly recommend for people to check it out. This is not a bad game at all. They're just minor stuff that I feel like it could be better just through updates in the future. And you're right. I think a year from now, this game is going to be totally different. Yeah. Totally different. But I really enjoyed it overall. I like the story. Love the side quests. And I just love discovering. And I'm still discovering stuff now, So
yeah, I completely agree on that. And again, you got to point out the stuff that wasn't so great. So maybe it comes off as being negative. But no, overall, like if I get this on a scale, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. That's what I'm going to give this game, because this is worth your time. I mean, hell, I'm probably at this point 80 plus hours into the game. So obviously I like what I'm playing. it's not even the thing of that. I mean, I had there were many nights I would get up at 3-4 in the morning and start playing this game. So it was not a thing of, oh man, I'm struggling through this. Let me just hurry up and finish it. It wasn't a thing at all. If anything, and you know this because I kept telling you this, I got towards the end of the main and I was like, I feel like I'm getting close to the end. I just stopped. And I just was doing a bunch of side stuff. Like I joined this one faction. I spent 2 days on it, and it was
same. I know which one it is.
Yeah, you know the one. Glorious. Some of the best stuff I did in the game was that faction. Yep. Oh my God, it was so good, so freaking good.
And there's another faction you haven't even tried out. And
yeah,
that one is good.
And as I continue to play now, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that one. Yeah.
But that's the beauty part, Parris. We discovering stuff and we just talk about between us. Like, that's the part that I can't wait to see from the community of just people discovering stuff. Like, wait a minute, what? You have to be at this planet at this time? At what? Like, oh my God, I can't wait for that. I can't wait to see that.
So let me take again. This goes back to the question about lock picking and everything. I forgot. This is the best story. Like one of my favorite moments in the game. I'm on a random planet, just doing my thing. I see a ship landed like off in the distance. I go, let me go over here. I go over there and I see other like astronauts like doing their thing, right? They're not enemies or nothing. They're just out randomly doing their thing. I'm like, let me go up to their ship. I go up to their ship and it's locked, and it was an expert lock on it. So because I had that expert perk, boom, boom, again, I pulling out my slide rule and everything to figure it out, but I unlocked it. I got in the ship. I went in the cockpit. I ganked the ship and took off and left him on the planet. On this random planet.
That's dope.
I stole the ship and kept it. And I just freaking love it. I was like, I love that I could do that. Like, that was a thing that I could do in the game. You know what I mean? Also, another thing, just some of the random conversations I'd have with other ships, like people that you would meet out on planets and stuff. It's fantastic. So this is what I'm saying. Barely scratching the surface of it. It's like, sure, I'm pointing out some technical things that I don't like or whatever, but I'm telling you, when your head is down and you're playing the game, you're just going to freaking love it. You are. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, they don't do this so well. They don't do that so well. So what? The game's freaking great. When you dive into the weeds of the game is great. Look, like I told you, my reference to 2001: A Space Odyssey, again, I won't spoil it. You didn't even encounter that thing that I did.
Nope.
And it was great. It was freaking great. It was freaking great thing that I did. And the choice that I had to make. You know, and I know that choice will get paid off at some point down the road. I just didn't re-encounter that thing yet. That's what's so good about it. I know that favor is out there for me, and I just haven't encountered it yet. Matter of fact, that faction that we love so much, I don't know what choice you made, but I made a choice with a certain character that he owes me now, and it didn't get paid off.
Oh, really? So
it makes me wonder, again, is that out there somewhere to come back? You know what I mean? That's the beauty of Starfield. That right there is the beauty of Starfield, in my opinion. Because honestly, if I had to guess on a percentage, I've probably experienced 20% of the game. And that might be, and that might be generous. That might be generous. Seriously.
I think it's lower than that.
Seriously.
Honestly. I think
because, and you'll see, I'm not spoiling the main story. You'll see with the main story what we mean. You'll see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And it all makes sense, bro.
Yep.
It all makes sense. So, but yeah, we're going to go now to my conversation with Pete. And this one is going to be from Pete's point of view too. Because we talked about a lot of other things too. That one is going to be, because we only have less hours than us because we've been playing it now. We're like, what, 60, 70, 80 hours now. But it's a great conversation. It's a must listen. So we're going to continue here at Gamertag Radio. And Parris, I just want to say thank you, man, for doing this, man. This is the longest review ever done, I think, for the game. Over 2 hours. Never done that in my life.
Yeah.
Never.
But you know, all the hype, all the waiting that we've been doing, you know, like I said, it was worth the wait. It was worth the wait to experience this game. I'm in a weird way, I'm actually happy that Xbox delayed the game, because I think that polish did show through on what that team was able to accomplish with it. I do think there's still some work to be done, but I think in the state that it is in today, this is well worth your time playing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oof. Can't wait to hear the thoughts from everybody, man. Please let us know. For those who are listening, let us know on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, or Discord, email, fan mail. Just hit us up. I'm very curious to hear your thoughts about our longest review ever in the history of Gamertag Radio, man. So Starfield. Once again, thanks to Bethesda and Xbox for the opportunity. And hopefully we're going to be talking about this more. Actually, Parris, Pete said for us, once a month, maybe, just an update, like where we're at in the game or something that we discover. I think that would be like where you're at Starfield.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea.
Yeah, we should do that. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Until next time, we're out.
Thanks for listening to Gamertag Radio. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.